Hi guys, welcome back to another video with Mountain Tribe Homestead. My name's Amberly, and this is another week in the life video where I take you along and let you know and show you kind of some of the things that we've been up to. I don't include every single thing we do during the week because everything that we do would end up being such a very long video, so I just kind of take some of the highlights that I think would be interesting for you guys and things that I'm not being repetitive about, and show that to you guys. Now in January and February we were participating in a pantry challenge where we only ate from our pantry, and this goal was to just use up food that was coming near its expiration date, making room in the freezer and the pantry for this coming growing season, etc. So we tried our very best to not do grocery trips to the grocery store, and this week was the first week after we finished the pantry challenge. So every morning I wake up before everyone and I drink my coffee with my puppy dogs, and I get to watch the sunrise now that the sun is coming up earlier. So I've really enjoyed seeing the sun come up. And this is just a little snippet of everything that's on my windowsill here. I don't know if anybody else likes to have plants on their windowsill, but I have plants and little, just fun little things that I love just sitting on my windowsill and around my kitchen sink. This is in my kitchen. So we started off this week having jam rolls for breakfast. I do this every week, and if you've watched my weekly episodes, this is a meal that is repeated every week. That little roll there turned out to be a little rose. I thought was pretty neat, but we used my homemade, home-canned strawberry pineapple jelly, and these jam rolls always turn out wonderful. They're ooey and gooey on the bottom and just a soft, fluffy dough. It's the refrigerator dough that I use every week, so I will put the link down below to the refrigerator dough that I use. So along with these jam rolls, we had sausage patties. That's the 7-year-old's favorite thing to go with her breakfast. Since we finished the pantry challenge, we celebrated by eating pizza. We ordered out for the first time in over 2 months because we didn't order out since the middle of December. So we got subs and pizzas and cheese sticks because everybody likes different things. And this was just a little celebration because everyone, especially the kiddos, were really good sports throughout the entire pantry challenge. It's really hard for them to not go to the grocery store and have, you know, little snackies in the house, or when we are out and about in town, instead of stopping at Chick-fil-A, going and packing our lunch and bringing it along. So that was a nice celebration. Here's the 7-year-old working on a little project. She was learning about China, and I think she was learning about China and Japan, just the whole Asia. And so she's working on a little project, and she's making a little kind of pocket, and she's sewing the two pieces of things together, and she made a little koi fish that came in this little kit that she has. And she took the koi fish and cut it out and glued it together and put it on this little pocket that she sewed together. She loves doing her little projects for school. This week was started out with a huge meal. So I am working on still, even though we're not in the pantry challenge, I am working on clearing out the freezer because I need to make room, because we have a hog that a local farm raised for us, and it's going to be ready here soon, and we need to make sure that we have room in our freezer. So I had a turkey in there, and I needed to get that cooked up, and so I just went ahead and made all of the fixins to go along with the turkey. That little jar was my great-grandma's. She used it for her vinegar, so I use it for mine. So with the turkey, I made deviled eggs, because it's just one of our family's favorite things to have when we cook a big turkey. So I made deviled eggs, and every time I make deviled eggs, I always make it differently. This is just the plain Jane recipe I think most everyone uses, and it's just mayonnaise and mustard and a little splash of vinegar and just mixing it all up and getting it in the eggs and sprinkling paprika over it. It's just a simple go-to recipe. There's been quite a few times where I have mixed up relish or put honey and bacon in there. My dad is a master when it comes to flinging things together and creating this wonderful dish, and he's one of the guys that I think I've picked that up from, just kind of winging stuff together. And my granny, which is my dad's mom, she does the same thing too. She just kind of grabs random ingredients and puts them together and creates amazing flavorful dishes. And that's also part of why I don't measure a lot of times when I cook, or I just kind of put stuff in there, and I don't follow recipes a lot of times when I'm making meals. So I'm sprinkling the paprika over the eggs, and I just did this quick, easy recipe, if you call it a recipe. I just did the quick, easy kind so that I could get moving on to other things that I had on my list to cook. I had some things in the fridge I needed to clear out, and not just the turkey in the freezer, but some other things in the freezer. And then I took the opportunity of making the turkey, and I went ahead and made a bunch of other stuff with the turkey, not only to use up product in the fridge, freezer, and pantry to make room, but also to just have enough extra for leftovers in the fridge so that it would be easy to just grab for leftovers for a meal later on in the week. Or I can just turn those leftovers into a different meal. I think this week we just did kind of grab and go, and we just ate leftovers for quite a few meals this week. This turkey, I did not do anything fancy. I just slathered it with butter, and I sprinkled paprika all over it, and then I just basted it throughout the cooking process. This was a turkey that I just cooked just to cook it, so there was no fancy dinner that, like, it wasn't for Thanksgiving or anything, and so I guess I just didn't feel the pressure to do it. And this, honestly, I think I wasn't so worried about it, that this ended up being the best turkey that I think that I've ever made, and it was amazing. It was not dry whatsoever. It was really juicy and really tender, and it just melted in your mouth. And it was so simple, and I felt like I didn't really put much effort into it, but it turned out to be pretty much the best turkey I've ever made. And these are just some easy peasy, not fancy rolls that's from the refrigerator dough, and I was just using that dough up because I wasn't sure what else I was going to use that dough for besides those jam rolls and one other thing later this week. So we got turkey and mashed potatoes and some homemade gravy, and I just whisked together I melted butter and flour and browned that up, and then just added milk and salt and pepper in there, and that's some easy peasy gravy that you can make. And I didn't measure it, I just eyeball it all. There's the deviled eggs, and then I had a request from one of the girls for some of the peaches from the pantry, so I grabbed a jar of peaches and brought it up so we could have that along with it. Those are homegrown on my mom's property, and we picked them and canned them up, and they're delicious. And then we got the rolls, the refrigerator rolls. Those are not fancy rolls whatsoever, but they turned out good enough to eat, and it went along perfectly with this meal. Something very exciting that we started this week was sowing some seeds. So I got some heat mats out, I cleared off some shelves, and I got the girls going on starting some seeds. So in the previous video I uploaded, if you haven't watched it, I talked about what types of seeds we were going to be planting in the next couple of weeks and getting started indoors. And here we are starting pepper seeds. And in that video I also talked about which types of peppers I'm growing this year and how much, and my whole process of how I figure out what I'm growing and how much I'm growing in my garden for the year. Every year's different, but my process is always the same. So I will link that video down below and you guys can check that out if you haven't watched it already, if you're interested. So this was a very exciting day that we were able to get our hands in some dirt and get some seeds started. If you have been following me on Instagram, you know that I love preparing my breakfast the night before. It lets me wake up and enjoy my morning and have a slow morning. I always wake up early before everyone, and prepping my breakfast ahead of time so I can just pop it in the oven or do whatever it needs to be done allows me to take my time to wake up. And so this is one of those breakfasts, and I've made this before in previous weeks, and this is just a breakfast chocolate chip muffin. And so I'm mixing it all up, and then the 7-year-old loves when I'm in the kitchen, and you will always see her pop in and get in the kitchen, and you'll see her little hands, and she's just willing to help out. So her favorite thing is adding chocolate chips to these muffins. So she's decided that that was her job that day, and she added quite a bit of chocolate chips that day. So one of the tips that I recommend that I learned from Jessica at Three Rivers Homestead was to put your muffins in a pie dish because it's such an easy cleanup. Again, we do still have this puppy, so we are working on puppy training and sticking our hands in that bowl to make sure that she does not have any food aggression in the future. And it's just, we're still being very attentive to her. It takes up a lot of time, a puppy does. But she's so cute and she's extra fun, so that makes it totally worth it. Isn't she extra cute? So here in a second, I'm going to talk about some of the things that we have been up to behind the scenes. And I haven't documented any of it because I didn't really feel a need to, but I do want to just kind of include it in this video just so that you do know some of the things that we are up to behind the scenes. And just because I'm not documenting it doesn't mean that it's not happening. And so I just wanted to talk about it a little bit because it really has become such a big thing right now with what we're doing, and it really has taken up quite a lot of time recently. So I'm going to go talk about that now with you. So one of the things that I've been working very diligently, well, the whole family's been working diligently on it, is downsizing. So we've been going through everything that we have, and we have been purging the house drastically. And we live in an 1,100 square foot home, so it's really easy to get a lot of stuff in all those places and not have much extra room for anything else. So and then underneath the house, which is where I'm at now, is the crawl space. We don't have a basement, we have a crawl space, which is where I store my canned goods and everything because it stays cooler down here. But we really are just trying to downsize drastically, and I haven't documented any of it, and I really wish I would have paid attention and kept track of how many loads I've taken to the trash or donations or given away to people or sold or whatever. And because it's been a lot. We've started this process, I think, in the end of August. It was right before the big girl's birthday, so it was the end of August, and it's weekly we've been going through, even if it's just a little bit at a time. But we would go through and do big spurts of it and get rid of a whole bunch of stuff. And so we kind of took a break from doing that, and we were just doing little spurts of things here and there. And anytime I would pull the holiday stuff out, I would go through the Christmas stuff, and I would go through, you know, the Halloween decorations or any holiday decorations. And as we pulled those out throughout the holidays, I went through that and kind of purged from there, which I need to go through it again. And that's another thing. Like, I've been doing this, and every time we go through and we do anything, we do it in layers. So, like, for example, my closet. I would go through and I do it in layers. And so I'll go through my closet once and get rid of things, and then I'll come back a few weeks later and go through my closet again and get rid of more. And I've just been doing that over and over and over until it's just basically to the bare minimum of what I need and what I do actually need to keep. I'm not keeping just, you know, like 7 outfits or whatever like some people do. We're not going to be doing that extreme of it, but I just wanted to show you just one pile, and I'll show you another pile here when I go back upstairs. The entire back of my car right now is completely full. The front porch, there's a huge pile of stuff on the front porch that's ready to go in the car as soon as I take the load that's in my car to the donations. We've taken multiple loads of trash to drop off, and this down here is going to be a whole nother load of donations to go to various places like the library or just to the homeless shelter, or and as I pull it out of from underneath the house or off the porch to put in the car, I'll separate it into different piles as I put it in the back of the car. So don't mind this stuff. This is just our air conditioners and our box fans and stuff that we use during the spring and the summer. And then we have an extra heater down here. But this whole pile of stuff, all of these bags, these big bags of stuff, not the jars, that's just where my empty jars live, but the whole big, all of these bags, all the way, even these little plasticky type, that's a plastic thing with drawers, like a plastic for storage, and then there's another one, there's 3 of those, so that's going to go to donations. And then we've got just bags of books and old stuffed animals and shoes and clothes and whatnot. But anyways, that is something really big that we've been going through and we've been doing. So as I'm documenting things and for videos, that's something that I haven't included, but that is something that we have been doing. And I just wanted to share that with you guys, because that is a part of making sure that you're not being swallowed up by just having stuff in your home, because it can really feel really heavy. It can really kind of really swallow you up and make you feel like you're drowning just with the stuff. There's all the stuff that we accumulate over the years, and we don't need stuff. I mean, we just don't. So that's something that we've been working on, and it feels great. It feels great. We love it. Okay, that's it. So before I walk out of here, there's one more thing I want to say. I encourage you to try to go through these things in your home if you're not already, or you haven't already, or downsized at any point, and I just encourage you to just give it a try. Just give it a shot and see. You're gonna see that it really makes a big difference in how you feel. So that's all I wanted to say. I just encourage you guys to go out there and try to go through your things and see what you don't need and what you can donate or whatever. So that's all I wanted to say. Okay.
It is just unreal how long we've been doing this and how much stuff we have gotten rid of, and we still have what I think is a lot of stuff in our house. But this is the other pile I was talking about that was on the porch waiting to go in the car after I donated and got rid of the other pile that was filled in my car. Moving on, this is a batch of Jello. So I've got my beef gelatin out, and I've got about a quart on the stove warming up, and about a quart, I think it's a quart, in the jug here. And this is grape juice. So basically it's just like regular box Jello you buy from the store, except it doesn't have all the extremely unhealthy crap in it. And you just take a quart of the cool juice and you put it in the pan, and you add in a few tablespoons of the beef gelatin, and you mix in the beef gelatin into the cool juice, because if you put it in the warm juice it will clump up. So you mix it up in the cool juice until it's all dissolved, and sometimes this can take a few minutes, but get it all dissolved in the cool juice, and that will prevent it from clumping together when you pour the hot juice in there. I get my beef gelatin from Azure Standard. I've ordered from Azure Standard for a long while. They're a great company. If you are interested in learning more about them, if you don't know who they are, they're a great place to order organic bulk food from. They deliver once a month. So if you want to learn more about it, I will put a link down below for you. So I'm just getting this all mixed up, and then here I'm going to add in the hot juice into the cool juice. And just like the other type of Jello that you make from the box, from the store, you mix it together and you put it in the fridge, and then it will set in the fridge and become Jello. So give it a try if you haven't already. It's delicious. So recently I've had some orders come through my online website. If you guys aren't aware, we do have a website online that you can order handmade products from. There's a whole variety of things. Even the teenagers sell things on there, and the 7-year-old makes hand-sewn bears that she creates and she sells on there. So I'll link that below to our website so you can check it out if you want, but I've had to restock some items because I've gotten more orders than usual online, and this week I chose to restock a few small batches of candles and lip balm. So this is just, I think this one is apple pie lip balm that I'm restocking here, and the candles were coffee candles, and they're made with actual coffee. But in the coming weeks, I am going to be working on stocking up a lot of my product because it is getting warmer out, and pretty soon I will be vending. I take the product and set up a table and go vending. So here's just one of the orders that I recorded on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. I post order packing videos. So this particular order was a larger order, and they ordered quite a bit of things. So that was really exciting. I love packing orders. It's just a fun thing for me. I enjoy it. So in the coming weeks, you're going to be seeing lots of product making going on so we can get things restocked for the warmer months when we go vending. Okay, back to another meal. We didn't have everything we needed to make tacos, so I decided to make one of my classic dishes that I've used to make all the time, and kind of it got out of rotation. So this is taco spaghetti. So it's spaghetti with taco seasoning and some other things in it to make it a little bit different than spaghetti. So I've got hamburger in the pot. I've browned that up. I actually browned it a little bit too much. You can see the extra dark brown pieces. They're a little crunchy. I kind of walked away and got distracted. I poured some water in there. I've got the taco seasoning mixed in there. And then I have one of those cubes that I showed you in a previous video. It's a garlic cube where I pureed garlic with oil and put it in a ice cube tray and put it in the freezer. And it made these little garlic kind of cubes that you can just pull out and put in a pan when you're ready to use it. This is just a one-pot meal. You put in your hamburger and cover with seasoning and garlic and whatever else you want. Pour in your tomato sauce or you cover it with uncooked noodles and then cover it with tomato sauce and then add in about 4 cups of water and then cover it up, and it'll cook those noodles, and those noodles will soak in water and everything will just come together really nicely. So if you're craving that taco flavor, but you don't have all the stuff to make tacos, or you don't feel like making tortillas, try out some taco spaghetti. Any ingredients that you're going to put into your tacos, I wouldn't put lettuce in here or sour cream or anything, but this is even really good once it's done cooking with cheese on it. So something I've really been talking a lot about recently in my Instagram stories is bread recipes. I've been on the hunt for a good sandwich bread recipe. I have a lot of yummy bread recipes, but I haven't been able to find a good sandwich bread recipe, bread that we can use for sandwiches. So this is a new recipe that I've tried. I can't remember where I got it from. I wrote it down months and months ago, and I just found the ingredients list that I wrote down. I didn't even write down the directions. So I am trying out this recipe. I put the ingredients together, and I'm not even sure I put them together in the right order, and I'm not even sure if I followed the directions with the time that was required for it. But this bread rose up and became this huge loaf of bread, this ginormous loaf of bread, but it turned out delicious. So I'm going to give this recipe another shot. I'm going to tweak it a little bit, and if it turns out good, then I will share it next time I make it. But until then, I think I still have some tweaking to do, because that sandwich bread is just entirely too ginormous for any sandwiches we eat. It's like 2 sandwiches in one. So I'm not going to share this recipe today until I tweak it and get it just right, but when I get to that point, I will share it on that video. So you can see the 16-year-old is here making a sandwich, and you can see how huge that bread went up. Now, it wasn't enough dough to make 2 loaves, so that's why I didn't separate it into 2 loaves. It was just enough for 1 loaf, but it just rose up a crazy amount. She loves pickles, by the way, so here she is excited for her pickles. We do not have any home canned pickles, so we have settled for, look at her, we've settled for store-bought pickles until the future. Not only did we start pepper seeds this week, but we also got some potatoes out and set on the windowsill to get them sprouted so they can get ready to go in the ground when the time comes. The daffodils are already blooming and little flowers are already coming out of the ground, so I need to get my butt in gear. That's my nature's signal telling me I need to get it together and get some seeds started. Especially with that greenhouse I have out there, I can really get these seeds started and get them grown up a little bit and a little bit strong, and put them out in that greenhouse and be ready to go and have an extended garden season this year, which I'm so excited about. And before we know it, we're going to have a lush, beautiful garden out back with lots of delicious food for our family. Here is Little Miss Echo. She just is such a character. Look at her. She's carrying her food bowl around. She does this constantly for no reason. I've thought that it was because she was hungry and we've filled it up with food, and she'll dump it out and carry her bowl around. So this is just something she likes to do. Little cutie pie. Alright, so this is it for this video. If you aren't following me on Instagram, be sure to head over there and follow me. I really interact a lot in my stories with what goes on every day. So you can keep up with us there on a day-to-day basis. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time, friends. Bye!